I didn't say that right, but you know what I'm talking about. Hey there, we're going to be checking out the EUIC results, check out the winner's deck, and see if we can break it down and copy that success. You know, where there is success, there are clues to that success, and we can break it down. So I like this website, PTCG Legends. Here's the summary. You actually have the results, streams, pictures, prizes, all that fun stuff is here. Let's get to results. So Alex Sheminsky won this thing. We're looking at our Masters deck right now. Of course, we have seniors, we have juniors, but let's look at the Masters. There's a lot here. So let's take a look. Arc, Duraludon. Then you have your top 64 meta. Looks like Guja Lost Zone is 23.4%. That's strong. Lost Zone Box 17.2. Lugia Single Strike 14.1. Gardevoir, Mew. Here it is. Arc, Duraludon 6.3%. But look who won. Let's click on it. Wow. That's pretty good. No recovery cards though. So very interesting. Seems like all attack. There's some situation in there. So we went through and we broke this down. Oh no, I lost my face. Just kidding. There I am. Alright, so taking a look at this. I've got everything kind of set up in the way that I think about things. We've got energy acceleration across, draw acceleration, search, offense, disruption, situational, advantage, and energy cards. It's kind of the way I like to break down my decks, right? And so we look at energy acceleration, very important in our decks. He's got the Arceus Vstar, and Raihan. And that's very good. Lost Zone has Mirage Gate, which lets you do 2 to any Pokemon, but they have to be different kinds of energy. Whereas Arceus V and Vstar lets you do 3 energy, any kind of energy, but it has to be to a V, and it ends your turn. Whereas you can use Mirage Gate as many times as you want. Well, you have 4, so you could technically use 4 at one time if you wanted. So that's a little limited, but still a very good energy acceleration engine. Raihan, of course, is kind of situational as well. Yes, cards can be in multiple categories. So you got Raihan, energy acceleration, because you can choose an energy from your discard pile and attach it. You can also search with Raihan. He's over here. He's in your search. Look for any card. Very strong. You know what? I need to add Arceus Vstar in here for that Vstar power. Boom. List updated. And you've also got situational, because he's kind of hard to use. He is very situational, whereas you have to have a Pokemon that's been knocked out the turn before, and then you're able to use Raihan, attach that energy, and search. But there goes your 1 supporter card for that round, right? So, situational. Draw acceleration. I noticed in this deck there wasn't a whole lot of draw acceleration from the Pokemon themselves. A lot of it came from the supporter cards that he had. And remember, you can only use 1 supporter card per turn. So you're thinking you've got your Boss's Orders, you've got your Sharon's Care, you've got your Raihan, your Judge. What am I supposed to use there? And then that's a judgment call. But right now your draw acceleration would be your Professor's Research, your Judge, and your Colress's Experiment. You've got to be very careful with that Professor's Research, though, because in this deck there are no cards that can pull Pokemon out of your discard pile. No recovery cards at all. Mostly just search, offense, disruption. There's a lot of good stuff in here, but you're not going to recover anything. Judge makes it also into the disruption category. So you've got your Judge there. That lets you draw 4 cards, put the other cards in your deck, but you do the same thing to your opponent, disrupting whatever plans they might have had, right? Very important. And then Colress's Experiment, get 5 cards, take 3 cards to your hand, 2 cards in that Lost Zone. 2 cards in the Lost Zone is tough, and especially when you can't get them back. Moving into our search cards, Luminion. I see this in a lot of decks. Very good search card, but however, it's a 2-prizer. Okay, takes up space on your bench. Only has one job, and that's to let you search for a supporter card. That is it. Otherwise, it is a free 2 prizes for your opponent if they get that out there and knock it out. But it's in a lot of decks. It's very useful. Raihan, again, another search card. We went over that before. Allows you to attach energy and search for any card in your deck. And then you have your Ultra Ball and your Nest Ball. There's no Battle VIP Pass in this deck. You're using Ultra Ball to find your evolutions. You're using Nest Ball to find your basics. And Arceus Vstar, again, very good. You can only use this ability once, but you can get 2 cards, any 2 cards out of your deck. Very good search card. On the offense, Duraludon V, VMAX, the Choice Belt, and the Vulpix V. To me, those are all offensive cards. Very good. You're slapping with 220 with the Duraludon VMAX, I believe. Yep. 220. He's also in that disruption category as well with his ability Skyscraper to prevent all that damage done to him by special energy. That's your Lugia decks. That is your Mew VMAX decks. Can't touch this guy. Very hard card to stop. Duraludon V does 140 and raises his own defense. Now this is a different one than I've seen used in the past. There's 2 different Duraludons. This one has that defensive piece added to its attack. Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm going to say I like that card. Like it a lot. So we've got those guys in here. We've got our Vulpix V. Moving on to your disruption Pokemon that I have in here. Duraludon VMAX, we went over that. He's got that ability. Alolan Vulpix Vstar. This guy is unfair. Snow Mirage, come on, man. This attack's damage isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon, and during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done by attacks from Pokemon that have an ability. That's anything, any kind of ability. These basics, evolve, stage 2, you name it. No damage here. And then you have this V-Star power. You know, the attack does 70 damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon V in play. And if you're playing, let's say, that Miraidon deck that we know is running with the Regieleki, the Raikou, the Pikachu, the Raichu, the Zerora. I didn't say that right, but you know what I'm talking about. That thing is going to be, that's a prize. That's probably, you could probably get 2 or 3 prizes with that easily done. So, but very disruptive card because you can't do any damage to it. You have to use an escape rope, you have to boss it, get it back in there somehow, and very hard to beat. So let's see, boom. Radiant Gardevoir. Radiant Gardevoir was another one that it's only in there for support. You take 20 less damage for its ability. That's it. Judge, again, disruptive. You're going to put your hand back. Your opponent's going to put their hand back. Boss's Order, lets you choose one of your opponent's Pokemon and put it in the active spot, and then you can attack it. Lost City is kind of a double-edged sword here. I mean, it's risky. You can, of course, you can knock out your opponent's Pokemon and they go in the Lost Zone, but if you lose yours, it goes in the Lost Zone. And there's no way to take it off. You only have 4 copies of Lost City running in this thing. You can't bump it. So you got to wait for your opponent to play something like Temple of Sinnoh, Path to the Peak, maybe a few others that get in there. But it's still very disruptive. The escape rope, it's like a budget boss's orders. But you have to switch out your Pokemon as well. Actually, I think the budget boss is the Pokemon Catcher, I believe, is the item card. Lets you do the flip and change out. So, but escape rope, it's close. It's very helpful in certain situations. Your Next part, though, is the true situational cards, Drapion. Drapion is absolutely situational in this deck. Look at him. Look at him. 4 energy to do 190. He's only in there for the Mew decks, the Psychic decks. He's hard to build up. Once you get him up there, though, he's also hard to stop. And, Sharon's Care here. Again, normal Pokemon with damage counters on it. You can put it into your hand. Still very situational. The Switch card, that can come in handy in certain things when you're trying to do another move on your Pokemon from the active spot. And then that final card, Raihan, again, very situational. Have to have knocked out the Pokemon, have to have energy in your discard pile, and then you can search. Tough. Advantages, though. We get to advantages. This deck has a lot of advantages over some of the current meta. Like, I mean, you got Mew, you got Gardevoir, you got Lugia, just to name a few, that this deck could easily go toe-to-toe with and come out on top 90% of the time. I'd say it's high. Has a high percentage chance of beating these decks. You know, you get to your energy, though. Here's where a lot of the resources start coming in. Double Turbo, 4. But guess what? You can't search for it. You can't use Raihan for it. You can't search for it using Arceus's ability. You could search for it using Raihan to look through your deck, but you can only attach 1 per turn. You do with that what you will. That's tough. You've got another 4, 7, 9 energy here. Only the 2 water. You don't have a lot of stuff that needs water except for Vulpix. And if you're truly desperate, Luminion. But if you're attacking with Luminion, you've got some other issues. So you got your Steel, you got your Fighting. Those are in there for Duraludon. And powering up Drapion when needed. He may not be needed. You're going to use him in your Psychic matches. But thank you guys for joining me. This was a breakdown of Alex Sheminsky's Masters #1 champion deck from the 2023 EUIC. Appreciate you hanging out with me. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe for me, and thanks, and I'll see you around.